Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands that we feature, like Whiskey Feathers. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. So, Mr. Brittain, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you tonight?
Thank you, Chad. I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. I cannot believe that it's been a week since the Ramble Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, if you followed my socials, if you followed anything, you knew that we were at the Ramble Festival last weekend. And these guys kicked off Saturday's basically lineup at noon in the barn stage. Talk about that performance, talk about the festival itself. Give a taste to the viewers and listeners of what it was like there.
It was beautiful. Really, we've been to, haven't played in a bunch of festivals, but been to a number, and it's a special thing there. It really is. Just a good feel. It kind of feels like summer camp with friends, and new friends you met and family that you didn't have before then. But it was really amazing that we were in the Ramble stage. It was a big barn, and they had it done up superbly with lights and tapestries and everything else. It's a very special space, and you could just tell it was kind of a magic in the air, and it just felt really good. We had our community out and met new friends and kind of welcomed them into the fold as well. But yeah, it was magic. It just felt good. It felt loose. We had a run of shows leading up to that, so we were feeling good. It just was good. It all the some familiar faces and friends and family being there and new ones as well. A lot of new ones. So yeah, it was beautiful and. The sound was killer. The whole weekend, every stage just sounded really well done, and so kudos to them for sound guys and everyone there for that. But yeah, it was beautiful. Just great weather. Couldn't really complain about any of it. It's the first one there. Hope to be back again, and if not on stage, we're definitely going back as fans because it's a special place. It's a special happening for sure.
What did you think of camping? Are you much of a camper?
I am a big camper. We were in hammocks in the woods and had a pop up with cooler and grill and all that for food. But yeah, I love it. Love kind of the full festy experience and yeah, wouldn't have it any other way. It was meeting your neighbors and just sharing that camaraderie and community. Really, it turns quickly into this neighbors and friends and family and everybody pitching in to help each other. If you forgot something, our grill broke at one point, and somebody was like, "Use mine," So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to got there and experience the whole fest from A to Z, which was nice, and instead of just popping in for a show and heading out. So got the full experience.
Well, you and I got to have a really nice
We
conversation.
did.
Was there a musician there that you really kind of connected with that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we so kind of there's another band called Feathers and Flask. They're in Havre de Grace, and we've been kind of fans from a distance for a while and just hadn't been able to connect. We caught their show and connected with them. We're gonna try and put together a show with them and Uncle Kunkel's One Grand Band as well. They're again from we have all these connections and just hadn't really fully done the whole band connection. But it was good to meet all those folks and connect and just had really positive you know meetings and interactions and just um, friends moving forward, and yeah, dug their music a lot and looking to try and get together on a bill somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it amazes me, and amazes is a wrong word because that seems like denoting like a connotation. But the Baltimore music scene is really alive and well. Like there are
Yeah,
some
very
really
much so.
great bands. Like
Yeah.
talk about the scene, man, and talk about like some of your contemporaries that are kind of really killing it.
Yeah, it really is happening and something that we're excited about and I think it all kind of drives, I wouldn't it's not even a healthy competition. I think it's inspiring and it pushes everyone along in these good ways. But yeah, and I'm talking about bands too that might not align with our genres, but it's all family and we're all kind of rooting each other on. But you got the folks who've been at it like Chris Jacobs and Caleb Stein and then a lot of just up and coming as well. Dirty Grass players are jumping off. Uncle Kunkel's one grand band in that jam scene, Feathers and Flask, and that kind of I just put them in like a ethereal, jammy, maybe Lumineer, vocal harmony kind of thing. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of good bands in Baltimore right now, and it's exciting and it's good. I think it just evolves and pushes everybody forward, and um, it's great community. Whether you're in a band and on that front, or there's just a really good songwriting community and folks that are, and we all share, ideas and there's different songwriters nights and things where people share and writers in the rounds and um, different things like that that really just shows that we care and we're involved in wanting to just push it along and further the art and music scene for sure.
Mhm. So outside of the 8 by 10 music venue wise in like the Baltimore area, what do you feel like, or in your experience, what venues are really kind of pushing like the music scene?
So I'd say our home venue for sure is would be the Loft at Manor Mill. It's a um, smaller venue, seats about 70. And that's I'm a pottery member there, and they do all types of art. Um, there's wood shop and different things like that, but they also have a music venue. And they're big on the local scene and regional and national as well. They get a touring acts come through. Just did a show with Open for Pressing Strings at Oldfield School. It was kind of a prototype show, like um, is it possible kind of thing. It's an old theater at Oldfield School, and we sold it out. There were 200 plus people there, and they're looking to bring that along as another kind of unique venue here for the area. Um, uh, 8 by 10 you mentioned. Um, uh, what else? Uh, the record's kind of coming along in a different way. That kind of redone it, and they're back. They were closed for a little while there, but Elkton Music Hall, we're be playing there coming up here in December. We can touch on that, but 12/5, newer venue. That's in Elkton, Maryland. But they seem to be pushing along with local and regional as well. But yeah, there's uh, a bunch out there. I'm probably blanking on some, but um, it the local scene is alive and well, and I think people take pride in it. Whether you're the band or whether you're the venue or radio, TMD as well. They're always promoting local, so it's a good feel.
Yeah, let's talk about WTMD because I think I was aware of them because did they used to do the bands that would do like orchestra stuff at the Meyerhoff? They would play with like the BSO. Is that correct?
Yes, TMD,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They would pair. They did like Dawes one year, and
Yes, we were there.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I
Right
think I
on.
love
Yeah,
Yellow.
that's them. I don't know if they've done that recent, but yeah, same folks.
Okay.
Um, yeah, they're always, integrating different special things like that, like Meyerhoff and orchestra with, an artist and doing something special.
Yeah. Meyerhoff is that's a cool venue.
Really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and TMD does first Thursdays as well.
Okay.
It's first Thursday from I think like June to September. Um, but it's like one of the biggest free festivals in the East Coast. And that got us they shared our single, our first single Enchanted, and asked us to perform and kick off 2023, their June first Thursday. And that kind of really started us down the path we're on. It was we opened, and then it was Joe P. and then Eric Hutchinson for that lineup. But yeah, they're that's a big free festival and something special. It's Canton Waterfront Park in Baltimore.
And that's only 10 bands then for the entire series, right?
Yeah, very limited. And the first band's always a local Baltimore band, so um, the opener's always local Baltimore. So yeah, pretty limited selection for sure.
Yeah. So you have not lived in Baltimore your entire life.
I have
Tell the
not. I'm a
audience
transplant.
tell the audience where we were born and kind of that story to get us to where we're at in Maryland.
Absolutely. So, born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My dad was in the Air Force, and don't really remember living in South Carolina. And my parents are actually from Western Maryland, and briefly lived there prior to moving down to Florida. And I grew up in Florida, like Palm Beach County area, and went to college at Embry-Riddle in Daytona Beach and aeronautical school. Got my degree, and then um, right after college, it was pretty dang hard to find work. It was economy doesn't wasn't doing super well, and moved. I met my wife in college. She was from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and family in North Georgia. And so after college, moved up to be with her, and we were there for about a year in North Georgia, north of Atlanta. And 2010, November 2010, got a job in Hunt Valley, Maryland, and came home. In a way, my first baseball game was an O's game. Just traveling up to visit family in Western Maryland, and some family in Western Maryland still, but my parents have kind of since moved on from there. And it was interesting because I had that upbringing and flying into BWI and driving out to Cumberland, Maryland, and kind of ended up back here. So yeah, 2010, and um, just loved it ever since. We got a great network of friends, and my sister-in-law recently moved up, so she's kind of in the fold now as well. So got some family here, but it's all we've got a lot of friends and family. They're friends that have turned into family over the past 14 years now. So yeah,
It's funny because nationally, usually you hear only negative things about the city of Baltimore, but like
yeah,
me personally, I've always loved the city. Like
likewise.
my mom grew up in Baltimore, like she went to Northern High School, like, I've never had a bad experience in Baltimore. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Even as
yeah,
a kid, I came coming up like it was always a treat. So
yeah, I mean, talk about like that, I guess, like disassociation, I guess. Is that the right word?
yeah, it's like I met a guy in DC Friday, and he's like, The Wire, The Wire. He's like, it's my favorite shit. And I've traveled. I was out in San Diego, and they're like, oh, Baltimore, The Wire. I love that show. Um, so yeah, it's just it's unless you come and see it and experience it, and called Small Baltimore, it really does have small town feel at times, and um, everyone knowing everybody kind of thing in a great way. Um, but yeah, and then there's all these beautiful neighborhoods. You got Hamden and different pockets of, Baltimore City and Baltimore County, and just different places that really make it special. And the sum of the parts add up to just, yeah, it's a great place to be.
So let's fast forward then to kind of 2022 when go from the duo with you and Jenny to kind of starting this creation of the band.
Yeah, so kind of out of the pandemic, had known, like, the bass player John, and um, uh, met uh, kind of was toying the idea of, like, you know I think I could have a band too. Why not? It was kind of, Jenny and I have been playing long time, doing different cover gigs, long form gigs, and just was looking to kind of expand and grow and see what was capable. And but it really wasn't. I wasn't pushing super hard. A lot of it came about organically and serendipitously. But our drummer EJ, there was a art gallery opening at Manor Mill, and I was asked to if I could play for that art gallery opening, and he was working, like, the curating music there at the time, and our good friend Dinah. Was like, is it cool if the drummer sits in and plays with you? I'm like, sure, that's, I'm always open to playing with whoever. Um, and we hit it off, and really, like, had a great show, and people were she's run around telling everybody they've never met before. And people were blown away, like, how do you even, I'm like, it's music,
Magic.
it's just, it's its own language. Like, we don't have to speak you know, English or whatever to share music. So um, yeah, we hit it off and played very well and together. And then he's in another band called Rusty Sal, and Letitia Van Zant leads that, and they do, like, classic country songs, and Patsy Cline and different things like that. But he was in another band with our lead guitar player Luke, and I was talking. Luke had recorded a song with our friend John Zorn, and I'm like, "Hey man, who's that mandolin player?" And I just thought he played mandolin, um, and so I'd reached out and was like, "Hey, maybe we could jam, do something like that." And but I was talking to Luke, had already met and played with EJ, our drummer, and they're in a band together, and obviously playing music together already, but was kind of courting them, if you will, separately at the same time. And then they were both like, "Hey, you should talk to this guy Brittain. He's, maybe we could figure out music together." But we all kind of landed at that same arrival at almost the same time. And I said, "Yeah, have you heard of this guy EJ?" And he's like, "I play in a band with them." And then at the same time, EJ's like, I said, "You heard of this guy Luke?" And he's like, "Yeah, I play in a band with them." So it all kind of, happened in that funny way. Um, but yeah, got together and had a real, just natural connection and unforced. It's kind of been that way ever since. We're not, no, I'm not telling anybody what to do or how to do it. And we share, a similar, I think, aesthetic and kind of sensibility for music, and we get along in a friendship way and in a music way, and it's just, I think we're very lucky in that regard, that we're like-minded in a lot of ways, and I think it helps. It just makes it easy for sure. We're not forcing any of it.
I think it would be fair to say that that whole reunion or meeting kind of was very serendipitous.
Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of these things that are just little glimmers and meant to be's that just keep popping up with these beautiful folks. So yeah, it very much so. It it seems to be that way lately with the band for sure.
Well, and thankfully, you all have full-time jobs. So, like, starting this band is not like you're not like going all in. It's not all or
No,
nothing.
we're not starving artists, and I don't think you have to be. I think
Right.
you know the end goal is to do this and be a lifelong musician and have it be a viable career. But yeah, we work jobs and it enables us to create and do the art we want to make. So there's nothing wrong in that. I think um, it's needed, it's necessary, and it really does help us make the art we want to make and gives us the space too to kind of create without stressing about putting food on the table and all that kind of stuff with our music.
Well, and even timelines too. You're not at a yeah, you're not at a whim of having to, release a single every month because,
But correct.
yeah.
Yeah. And to that point we are pushing to share more and do that and in terms of we've got a just released a single sold separately. And that was the Friday before our Ramble performance as well. So it's been out about a week. And we got a couple more in the can and going to be trying to roll those out, one every 6 to 8 weeks or so here. So yeah, trying to share more and really, have a lot to record. We're back in November in the studio. Um, but yeah, just we have another album ready. It's just get the budget to record it and mix and master, and everything's self-funded. And so yeah, we're good problems to have. We've got the content and always writing and always creating. So it's just it's about getting the time and budget to um, get it tracked and released.
So before we talk about that new album, the song sold separately, the line, "The dream is free, the hustle is sold separately."
Yeah.
I know you talked about the inspiration that during the show, but tell the audience the inspiration for that song.
Yeah, so my sister-in-law bought me this sign. I think it was actually you mentioned Chattanooga from the Chattanooga Farmers Market years and years ago, and it hung in the doorway to our old the old kitchen. Probably we're in a new place now, but it said the dream is free, the hustle sold separately, and it was on like a piece of like barn door, barn wood or something. And there was another sign that said, "Today I will create," and that's a line in the lyric in the song as well. Um, but I was putting away dishes one day and kind of had those in the front of my mind, and um, it just kind of hit me like a train. And I put down the silverware and I went and uh, wrote that song. It truly was inspired by the writing on the wall or the sign on the wall. But yeah, it was, it's a brief thought, it's a brief song, concept of a song. But yeah, love that idea that, nobody's coming to give it to you. You got to go out and get it. And as much as, uh, it is a dream and fully capable of doing so, you gotta work at it. Nobody's going to hand it to you. So it's that concept of getting after it for sure.
Well, speaking of concepts, you decided on doing your debut album as a concept album.
Yeah.
Talk about the thought process, talk about, the pros and cons of doing that, especially as you're with your debut album.
Yeah, so I've wanted to release an album. I know it's not the way, but it's what I grew up on. It's not the modern way, um, but wanted to release an album and wanted it to kind of be this, a story within the stories kind of thing, and this listening to it A to Z, kind of paint a picture and. So yeah, we didn't, the pros and cons. We it's arranged in a way that tells a story almost like a rock opera and kind of thing. Um, does that play well on Spotify? And you know, our would did we just rack and stack based on what we thought all our singles would be and put those all up front? We didn't. You know, we put out an album that I were happy with, and the arrangement and how everything's laid out to be, you know, the sum of its parts, and it's intended to be, you know, listened to, and when you get time to hear it in its entirety. So that was the intent, that was the goal. You know, we like it, and I think ultimately that, you know, if people dig it or dig parts of it, that's great too. But yeah, that was the sum of its parts. That was the big picture. Intent was to release that album and have it be this kind of story within a storybook, you know, stories within the stories.
I think your measuring stick really is if your fans are coming to your shows, obviously you're not playing the album in its entirety. You know,
Mm.
obviously you're mixing it up like set list wise.
Absolutely, yeah,
So the songs are standing on themselves.
for
It's
sure.
just you created, a collection of songs that all kind of had a theme. So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, 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 no. It's and in hindsight too, you know, just the model. I think it's a lot. It's a single. Everything's singles, released in singles, right? Like we there's 12 songs on the album. We could have released a single every month. But it was, you know, I think it was something where I wanted to release them all at once and kind of say, here we are. Here's our album. Here's the big picture, and get the ball rolling for us on you know, some of the newer stuff as well, and kind of set that foundation, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. So we talked about before we recorded how, you brought these songs to this current band and
Yeah,
like the dynamic of that to where now you're writing songs as a band. Like walk us through kind of that.
absolutely. Yeah. So Jay and I, she plays keys and sings vocals with me, beautiful harmonies. We had been kind of doing the duo thing for a long time. I met her in 2012. So yeah, been a while at that, and you know, cover gigs and different things like that for a long time. But I wrote all these songs on the first album, just acoustic, and no intent of a band or all the pieces that certainly that we have now. And then when the band got together, you know, we were playing original songs and original music, but kind of figured out a way for all the pieces to work, if you will. And it's pretty natural to do, but kind of bandified them, if you will. Um, all the newer stuff now and um, uh, Simply Satisfied was really kind of written right around the time we were in the studio, so it was new when we were recording that album. But everything that's going to kind of come out after Simply Satisfied here was written with after the band was together and with all the pieces in mind, and it shows, right? It's definitely this evolution. It's different than the first album in a great way, and again, that kind of chronology of you know, where we were and where we are now, and um, it it's it's different and in a great way because of understanding what's possible with the band, and also going into some things loose and instead of, you know, writing a whole song and saying this is it, or you know, obviously those existed. We're all pretty kind of flexible in creation mode, but taking that to the band early when it's kind of moldable and new and still growing, and having that creative process actually occur as a band is just new and refreshing, and it really you can hear it. You can hear the difference, I think.
Do you feel like you were more anxious or trepidatious about releasing this single on Friday than like the album in its entirety when you released that?
No, no, I think there was, I felt more. there's it's the first, the first kind of thing. We did that single, did Enchanted. But no, anything we release, we're proud of, and we like, if as long as we like it, we'll release it, that kind of thing. If folks dig it, that's great, and it's sugar on top. But no, we're definitely not doing it for applause or for likes, which I think is like, we want people to come to shows. We want to sell tickets. We want to sell music. Um, but at the end of the day, like, we're doing this ultimately to make music that we like. And as long as the collective likes it, it's a win in my book, right? It's, and we're all kind of similar people where we just have to create, like we're creator. I think all humans are. But it's a part of us, it's like eating and breathing. We make music, we make art. So it's something to where, yeah, we just, if we like it and it kind of satisfies our soul, then um, that's where we're at. And if other people, if there's a connection there, and that's really for us, the live performance is connecting with folks and kind of sharing that and um, yeah, making new friends and kind of having that communal spiritual experience of going to an awesome show. Um, that's the live show. But yeah, as far as releasing stuff, I think we have it easy in that I completely, once it's in the can and we're happy with the mix and the master, it's all the kind of mulling it over and all that's already been done, and it's relieving to release them. You spend so much time on them in that recording process, and then the mixing them, and you down to the details. And by the time you release it, I'm like, I don't sometimes I don't want to hear the song anymore because you've heard it to the minute detail. Um, but yeah, it's cyclical. It releasing um, makes way for new stuff. So ever since we've started kind of releasing into the world, it's always created and made room for more to follow. So no, I like it. I like that it's and it's this timestamp of um, where we are. I think all good music and catalogs are that way where you it's important to kind of have that steady stream of creation and release, and because I think it just feeds the whole process and cycle. And some people will just sit on it, and there's got to, at what point is it good enough, right? Like what's the end point and the stopping point? So um, yeah, I think it's important to not take it too seriously or not be too, if you're comfortable enough to go record it in the studio, then, and you could go record that song. We could record it today, and then in 2 months we go record it, and it might be a little different. It's just the day it brings a certain thing about the song, and it's it's a snapshot. It's we might play something different live for that song, but um, you gotta release to make room for more. So it's by the time we do release it's like a freeing feeling, and yeah, on to the next.
So, do you feel like you've changed as a songwriter because, like you said, you brought these songs to the band and now you're, kind of co-writing and, being more of a team. It's almost like a tennis player joining like a basketball team. Like what's that
Yeah,
dynamic like, or does it really change?
it's changed. I get all these concepts and ideas, and then uh, pitch them to the band, if you will. But we are the sum of our parts, and we're as strong as the players on the team, if you will. And we all make each other better. It's that simple, and there's a lot of good players in the band, and it's just elevates everybody, um, elevates and kind of plays to that level, and If we have a practice and somebody's gone, it's different. You can feel it, you can hear it. But yeah, it's different in a great way, and I kind of intentionally bring songs or ideas to the full. Like if we have a member missing from practice, for example, I won't pitch an idea. I wait, and I don't even tell people anymore. Like, hey, I've got an idea. I'm going to share on practice day or whatever. I'll drop it on people, and it's important that they don't know it's coming, and we just get into it, and that first 30 to 45 minutes is true kind of creative um, expression, and just everybody's kind of adding their thing, and that's the magic, and that's where a lot of these new songs live, is in that first hour after sharing them. And we record all our practices just to kind of have and look back on. And but yeah, all these new songs were like, evolved, in that organic, natural, springing it on the band. Hey, I got this idea, and they quickly just sprout into these, big, beautiful, blossoming things that wouldn't be, if I just sat there on my own to try to figure it all out. It just wouldn't be that way. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's this organic, um, creative moment.
So when you guys play a show, how much thought is involved in the set list? And if philosophically, if you had to play a 2 hour set list right now,
Mhm.
what covers would you throw in with your originals?
Great question. So yeah, a lot of uh, time and care into the set list, for flow and for depends on the show too, right? Like if it's the end, we closed out like the art fair, for example, and we were the last band. So you got people that have been there all day. Um, we don't want to start slow. We want to come in strong and make them go. I don't want to leave yet. I want to check. I want to keep listening to these guys. Um, so we consider that kind of stuff, and then also consider, certain songs pair well together, certain transitions that go well together. Um, we try not to repeat keys if possible. Um, there's a lot of thought, and we also won't, we won't play identical shows back to back. It's a personal thing. I don't want to get bored with it either. So there's always some mixing it up. Um, so yes, a lot of time and care into the set list. If we had to do a 2 hour show now, or some of the covers, so we just did for Ramble, we took a Bob Dylan deep cut, "Do You Want to Ramble," and we mashed that with "Ramble On" by Zeppelin, um, and that played very well. It's a fun tune to do, fun mashup. And we changed some things. We did like the first verse was Dylan's, the second verse I wrote, the third verse was some words from lyrics from Ramble On that were in that Dylan kind of uh, tempo still.
Mhm.
Um, we've been doing Little Liza Jane, and just rewriting all the lyrics for the show, which is fun. Gets people into it. Um, we do some covers that we like, and that aren't necessarily, I think the point of some covers too is, you want to give something to the audience that they know, but do it in your own way,
Mhm.
so they kind of see your artistry and they go, oh no, I know this song, but I can appreciate what they're doing with it. I think we're getting better at that. But a lot of the covers we do like a Langhorne Slim cover, and some people might not even know who Langhorne Slim is. But it's covers that kind of blend well to the point where people come up with, hey, I like that song. I'm like, oh, it was a cover, but thank you. You wouldn't. It's almost seamless to what we do. We do a song by the band Arlie, um, Arlie. It's called "Did You Think?" Kind of similar in kind of, getting after it artistically and creatively to like Simply Satisfied, or not Simply Satisfied, sold separately, excuse me. Um, but yeah, I think the majority of the covers we've done historically have been, I'd say, deep cuts or things that blend into what we do artistically. And lately, we've been trying to um, do things that still fit us, but are more well known that people can connect with and take. You know, you go to a lot. I've been to plenty of shows, and the takeaway from people going to like, oh, they played, Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel or whatever, and that's all they can remember, really. So um, trying to make some of those connections in addition to sharing all our original stuff. But if we were to do a 2 hour show, we're, I'd say, pretty close to doing that. With original music as well. But would definitely love to. We love the covers sprinkled in.
That's when you say that to yourself and you hear yourself say that. I mean, what goes through your mind? I mean, that's pretty impressive, right?
What, the 2 hour shows with originals?
No, no, yeah, that you could do. Yeah, right now that you could do.
Yeah. I mean, I've been writing for, I have hundreds and hundreds of songs. They're not all worthy. But I think and I'm always writing. I think it makes room for more. Similar to, it's a similar process, my writing to recording and releasing music is just clearing way to kind of get the thought and idea down. And sometimes it turns into a full song, and sometimes it's kind of dead after that. But um, yeah, it is exciting to have uh, a canon of things that we think are worthy, that are um, something we're proud to play and play live. And yeah, I mean, we got a pretty tight hour and a half, at the moment. We play, most shows are an hour and 15, but yeah, it's exciting. It's and I think some of that we get that leeway to with the set list, and we can think about the set list because we have um, there's 12 songs on the album. We've got a single out, and one of those singles is on the debut album. And then, so what do we have? Two singles and 12 songs out, but our shows are a lot longer than 12 songs. So, um, yeah, and honestly, we're playing a lot of newer stuff. I'd say the majority of what we're playing is newer stuff, which isn't necessarily traditional either. You play the album um, but I just feel like, this is where we're at. This is what we're excited to play, and this is what makes sense at the moment. So that's what goes on the set list. Um, do we get a lot of people come up and say, oh, where can I hear that song? And say, at a live show, because right now it's not released. But um, is it against maybe the business model? Sure, but it just feels right um, to where we're at, and what makes sense. I think it would be weird to sit on them, and to say, oh, let's wait to play these until um, we release them or whatever. Um, and I think that would kind of stifle and hamper kind of momentum and growth. So, um, no, it seems to be working well, and yeah, it's exciting to have to have a good catalog to choose from to build set lists from.
Do you see down the road possibly like kind of not retiring that first album, but like not playing those songs as much because
Sure. Yeah. We're kind of doing that in certain regards now. There's some songs that are tougher to play for whatever reason, out of uh, just since then, recording them, and we played the album, pretty hard for that kind of first year. Um, But yeah, I for sure, I think that's just growth. It's where you at, and what excites you to play, um, versus, and like I said, a lot of those, it's sort of the age old thing where your first album, you get your whole life to write it, and So some of those songs were, pretty old. And yeah, I don't know. It's just trying to keep it fresh and new. And I always get excited about the newer stuff, and because it's topical and it's here and now. So sure, yeah, down the road, I'm sure we play less of them.
Well, somebody who appreciates space and, the stars, a band that I would rather them go back to their first album is Coldplay.
No, there you go.
Did you hear the new album?
I'm not.
What's called Moon Music. And by golly, like, would Johnny Buckland please get like a guitar lick on like any of their stuff anymore? It's just all like blips and synths and like atmospheric sounds and yeah,
Yeah, maybe this is what the moon folks listen to.
I guess so. So let's talk about how your love of space kind of influences your music.
Yeah, so I went to Aeronautical University, and I was on the Daytona Beach, so Space Coast was near, and um, I minored in space studies, and um, yeah, just I've always loved aviation. As a kid and playing. My dad was in the Air Force, um, so just all, and I'm good at still. I can tell you what's in the sky. I just point it out and tell you what it is. Um, but all the shuttle launches and kind of growing up around that in Florida definitely inspired. I still, we've got telescopes, and I sing about telescopes, and um, it's just some. It's fascinating. It's the universe it's a magical, special thing, and yeah, I mean, I just looking at the moon, looking at the stars, it's inspiring stuff. So, um, yeah, it informs my day, it informs my art. It's something I've always been curious about, just flight and yeah, space and time and travel and our kind of where we all fit in that regard.
Something else that's kind of informed you for the past 4 years, correct? Almost 4 years?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Um, Talk about that. Talk about, sobriety and talk about like the
yeah.
choice to follow that path.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was September 12th. It's been 3 years
That's
without a drink. Yeah, and yeah, it's changed everything. I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you, and I think I'd probably still be alive, hopefully. Um, but just not capable. I could barely remember lyrics. I was just it was cloudy. It was a rock on the hose kind of thing, and everything's changed. I mean, it's unreal how life has changed in the all of the positive ways you can even imagine. So, um, yeah, the writing, the quality of life, the living in our first home, and um, it's a beautiful thing. My wife and I got sober on the same day. It's our whole life has changed in an amazing way, and it's just allowed for um, clearer thinking and more creativity and better sleep and better health and lost a bunch of weight and eat better and just think better. Just feel like my brain is working a heck of a lot better without all the poison that I used to put into it. So, um, and I mean the word whiskey is in our band name. So the band has changed. The name kind of is changed and involved with sobriety as well. So um, I mean whiskey was the drink of choice for sure. Uh, and even I'd say most of our members, if they do drink, we've all kind of gone through that hard living kind of party phase, if you will. So yeah, we've all kind of grown through some of our struggles, and share that connection in some regards with certain members, and um, it's just better for it. I mean, we're just clear in our thinking and our feeling and our doing. So, um, you know, it shows in our shows. You know, we're not getting messed up for before shows. We're not. We're all there. We're in the moment. We're coherent. We're feeling good. So, um, it changed everything, and it's still, 3 years later, still um, growing and clarifying but yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's I can't explain how life has changed in all the most positive ways.
So just alcohol then, or drugs as well, or what was?
Yeah, I mean the alcohol was the biggest, issue for sure.
Yeah.
So it was all consuming. I mean, it was um, there. I couldn't tell you if looking back, like how many years it had been since going a day without drinking. So, it was, back before we quit. I mean, I literally couldn't tell you. It was like, most people could say, "Oh, I didn't have a drink last whatever, yesterday or whatever, last Wednesday or whatever." I literally couldn't tell you. Like, I don't know, years ago. Um, and it just slowly turned into uh, too much. At the end, I didn't really like the taste of it anymore. Um, it just wasn't, we weren't having fun anymore. And it wasn't, it just wasn't healthy. I mean, it was, you could see it, you could feel it. It wasn't sustainable, and it was going nowhere fast. So, um, yeah, and I think we knew that it was something that, wasn't sustainable and needed to change one way or the other. So, which is tough to do. I mean, if you're out there struggling, it literally is a belief in yourself. It's believing you're worthy and you're capable, and planting that seed, and water it, give it light, take care of it. Believe in it, and it is just little steps, little day by day steps that add up into, it's consistency really. I think, and even art too. It's um, just you're not going to be good at anything tomorrow. It's little baby steps add up into big changes. So it's informed life and informed art, and yeah, very grateful and happy for all of it, the way it's turned out.
Do you think personally, if one of the band members was like actively, maybe would that make it more difficult for you, or do you think you would?
No, I mean, like I said, some of our members drink, and they're, sensitive and to that. But no, I mean, we're the business we're in. I mean, it's slinging booze, and so we're around it. But no, it's, I'm not tempted by that, or it's not a problem to be around it. If we had members that were just getting messed up and it was affecting the show and performance and relationships and all things like that, I think that would be probably an issue. But yeah, everybody's controlled and you know moderation and everything like that. So no, it's not a problem. I know some people just can't be around it at all, which would be tough as a musician, just kind of the way it all goes. But no, it's fortunately, I'm healthy and happy, even if I'm around folks that are drinking.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was part of being like a cover band singer? Like, were you kind of in that like kind of rut, and that's what?
Yeah, I mean, for years, I got paid in booze and food,
Yeah.
and that bounced out, you know, making a couple $100 here and there, and for the gigs or whatever. So yeah, it was free drinks and free, wings and cheeseburgers and everything else, and you know, late nights and not a lot of exercise, and it adds up, you know. But yeah, it for sure. I mean, I played all through college, and you know, yeah, I didn't really spend money on alcohol or food, at gigs, and it's not healthy food, and it's poison going in. So yeah, but that's my journey. I think it kind of has led me to where I'm at. I don't, you couldn't have told me to stop otherwise, or it's everything. I think has its time, and it's just the way my story went. And some people can handle drinking and having that be part of their life. I just got to a point where I just didn't want to be part of mine anymore. It wasn't fun, and um, yeah, I done it. One of my earlier jokes was, yeah, I did my kind of lifetime all at once, up front. I got it all out of the way, but yeah, the playing out, playing bars, playing breweries, and the craft beer kind of revolution, microbrew. I mean, I was brewing my own beer for a while. It was like all that, the popularity of all that. Uh, binge drink. I went to college in 2004. 4 to '08, and the culture of drinking at that time too was just. And I don't even think kids now are really doing it like we were. The chug and the beer pong and it's just not. It was a time and a place, I guess. But yeah, the it's changed, and there's way more non-alcoholic. It was like O'Doul's and St. Pauli Girl and whatever. It was terrible. But there's all these. I think people are seeking it, and I think whether it's alternatives, alcohol alternatives, or sobriety, or post-pandemic, I think it's changed. The world has changed. There's sober bars. There's um, it's cool to see, and made it easier to quit drinking. I kind of substituted beer with NA beer, and for a while there, in the change. And now I haven't had an NA beer, and can't tell you how long. So, um, but yeah, it's nice to have an alternative to help you curb the habit, and it yeah, it's a different world for sure from how I kind of got introduced to free drinks and all that to yeah, being sober.
Yeah. So let's get back to the songwriting for a second. So are you more of a lyrics first and then music, or are you more of a music first than lyrics?
I'd say like 99% of the time it's lyrics and then music. So I record everything in my phone pretty much. And I think about this often, where I don't know what I'd do um, without the technology of being able to have this personal handheld recorder. Um, because for me too, especially, I sing everything. I sing the melodies. Like I could go back and play you the chorus or whatever, the idea, the seed of the idea, sang into my phone, and that's it. Like that, there's some tweaks, um, but and I've done it before, where you just write it down, and then you're like, oh, I'll come back to it. I forget the intention. I forget the melody. I forget then they're just words. Um, so yeah, I don't know how how it was done really before you had a chance to really record and the second I hear that recording, I go, oh, and I remember exactly the arrangement. Um, but yeah, I record everything into my phone. Um, I back it up to a cloud, and save all these seeds of ideas. Um, and yeah, it's lyrics first, and then the music comes along pretty easily because I'm singing. I'm not just like spoken word really. It's that idea is recorded. Um, and it evolves, from that seed of an idea to the demo to the how the band what the band brings and all that. But yes, always 99.9% of the time, the lyrics come first.
Yeah. That's interesting because each band or artist that I talk to, it's a different, like it's very, I would say more our music first, but there's enough too that
Most
lyrics first.
are that I, in my experience, yeah, it's music first,
Yeah.
which, pros and cons. Like I'm trying to tell a story really mostly. Um, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm not, if I would say what's my gift, it's my voice, it's my words. The musicians around me, I think, are musically much better musicians, and again, it lifts everybody up. Um, I do what I do rhythmically on a guitar to paint that sort of bass layer. But yeah, I'm telling the story, and I'm singing that, and I think that's probably kind of who I am in that regard, versus if you're an instrumentalist first and then kind of trying to find those words after you've got this music. Um, the musicality is very important. Does it have a hook? Does it get you moving? Does it meet that intent of the lyric? But for us too, I think to be able to have the lyric, have the intent, um, we're able to get that music to easily match it, versus the going, oh man, I got this cool lick or cool riff or whatever, and now I gotta, I just feel like it's almost too broad to go and try to find words and what am I saying here? What am I talking about? Where I've already got a concept or an idea of, what the intention is.
Yeah. We talked about before we recorded about being categorized, and kind of labeled and, you sound like this or you don't sound like
Yeah.
that. And, we kind of went through the artists that you kind of sound like. And so I can go through them now, but, you know, when people do kind of compare you or put you sort of in a label, how what is the right response to that?
I, what is the right response? So lately, I think I've always say thank you and appreciate that. Because a lot of people say, "Hey, you remind me of so and so," right? And and it's people they like, it's flattery, right? And they're trying to rationalize our sound and in our genre category, if you will. Um, so and I've heard they don't always align, right? Like it'll go from like Rob Thomas to like Ray LaMontagne to Nathaniel Rateliff or
Counting Crows.
just Counting Crows, yeah, Chris Stapleton, and I guess there's elements of it, but that not really true. Any of them really. So, but yeah, flattered by it, and then you know. Most people are like, "What kind of music do you play?" And it's the best we've come up with is roots rock, and honestly, I think that was provided to us. It's we're just playing music we like. We're influenced by all sorts of stuff around us. We're not trying to be in a category or anything like that. Um, it doesn't sound like, Americana's elements of it. It's similar to how people say, hey, you sound like so and so. Sure, there's parts of it, but Americana or roots rock or um, alt country comes up, and we're not country at all. And um, somebody said cosmic barn rock. I don't know what that means, but sure, it's what if that's what we sound like to you, great, Um, and that gets us in trouble sometimes trying to get on a bill at a festival or whatever, if it's a bluegrass fest or whatever it is. But um, we're just playing music we like, and whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel good about it. If that's how you got to rationalize it, that's I guess that's for you. But um, yeah, I don't. And I know we got to classify it and put it on, whatever distribution streaming platforms and sales and everything. Um, but yeah, so far as we can get is I guess roots rock and folk rock or whatever it is, but it's not quite any of that
Yeah.
or easy to define. Um, and yeah, the more folks say, "Hey, you remind me of so and so," I think it's a good thing. It's flattering. It's them saying, "Hey, I like this band, and you remind me of that band," and that's beautiful. So,
Yeah, I think band wise, I don't think you sound, but vocally, I think you sound a lot like the lead singer of Camp.
no, right on.
Like that, I get more of him in you than I get like Nathaniel Rateliff or like even like
Right.
Ray LaMontagne. But
Nice.
I can see both of those.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've had some friends haven't said can't that they're like, oh, you must love, they'll like kind of incite things like that. But yeah, I can hear that as well.
yeah, those I was kind of late to the game with those guys, but they're really really good.
They
Camp,
are.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ohio
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to talk about wrinkles in the fabric. I want or I want to hear about that song in particular and the guitar lick in that song. Like just throughout, that's the guitar is so well done in that song.
That's all Luke Lucas Chohani. Yeah, he's something, man. He's one of the best. I'd say, he's toured the country. He's did some international touring. Uh, he's the best of us. He's really uplifts. I call him the song doctor as well. I'll come with something and he'll easily dissect and make little improvements here and there, and some simple, some complex, but they all kind of have this um, uh, big impact every time. So yeah, anything you hear lead guitar wise, that's all his brainchild, and I wouldn't even say he's overly thinking that either. It's what he feels and compiles and comes up with. But um, yeah, that song um, again, there's that kind of cosmic tone to it, and um, we're just a kind of a blip on the radar, wrinkle in the fabric of time, um, and it's a special thing to be here to be feel the moonlight and kind of experience the planet and be a creature on it with the creatures and um, yeah, ash to ash, dust to dust. We're all going back at some point, and it's cool to know and understand uh, a little bit about our place and kind of think about the big picture and we're here and it's you can't really make some of this stuff up. It's a fantastic experience and existence for sure. So I think that's the crux of that song, really.
So
And
I
that
make
that guitar part as well is again and I think part of the band too is I'm not I'm definitely not a dictator, put it that way. We all bring and share our gifts uh, openly, and there isn't a lot of disagreement with that. I think it all just kind of naturally fits. And we might work through some things and say, what about this? What about that? But most of what you hear is what is naturally occurring, and it's there's not a lot of struggle there. So it's a nice thing.
I met your wife at Ramble
Yep.
Festival. She seems to be very, very much engaged with the band and with you.
Yeah.
Talk about how her
Very, very
support
true.
means to you and the band.
Everything. Like, I mean, we literally, I told her I had a pretty hectic work week leading up to Ramble. And I I told her, I'm like, I would have been literally on Wednesday. This was Friday, as I was like walking out the door. I would have been 2 days behind without her. Um, but yeah, she is tour manager. She's band mom. She does just about everything other than perform. I mean, she's literally another member. She just doesn't play the music with us. So she'll help. Recently, she's helped with set list. Um, she's just pivotal input. She helps do just about everything. But write the songs and play the songs. So um, she stepped into it big time in into that role. Um, and yeah, from merch to when you see the merch table set up the way it is, and that's all her and my sister-in-law Lisa. They all the video you see, all the pictures you see, all that stuff. All the content, everything, the majority, 99% of it is from her and Lisa. So yeah, the behind the scenes hero really, and yeah, the support's everything. She does it all. I can't, and you can talk to the band to a person, and um, her growth as well as we've been growing as a band, with venues and with bookers and buyers and people at the shows, and she's just as much the face of the band as we are, and she's out on the floor with folks, and she's talking and rubbing elbows and selling merch, and she talks to folks more than we do, just by the nature of it all. So yeah, she's it's spot on observation. She definitely um, does a lot, and one of these days we might start to pay her, but yeah,
Not yet.
she's incredible. Yeah, she really is. We just
So,
celebrated 20 years together and 11 years married on Saturday. So yeah, it's a happy time. Yeah,
happy life, happy wife, right?
there. Yeah.
So I want to ask you about the balance between your art and it being a commodity,
Hmm.
because that is a struggle that I hear artists and bands, because yeah, you obviously want to make money on this, but at the same time, you don't want to sell your soul to do that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
talk about that balance, and maybe you're not at that point yet, but like even
Yeah.
envisioning that issue going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And luckily, like I said, we're self-funded. We're kind of at our own pace. Um, and right now, to be honest, we have a lot of content that we want to get out, and it's just budget and time and getting it all done. But yeah, I mean, we have another album ready, content-wise. It's just getting that recorded. But yeah, the old model was an album a year. The new model is a single a month. Our first album was 12 singles in theory. A single a month sounds insane. It is. But if you have the content and if you can build up that um, catalog and be ready, it's doable. But yeah, that time pressure, the art doesn't really work. Creativity and art, it's not on a timeline, and that is a rub. It's a rub with the music industry and record deals and everything else. It's, hey, this is due on this date, and if you don't have anything worthy of releasing on that date, that's the give and the take, and the an issue if you're under contract or whatever to release something by that time. So um, yeah, I could see it being a problem down the road. Luckily, right now we're kind of on the other side of that where we've got material, and the flow, the creativity and the writing is pretty steady. And it's just about budget and time to get it all done. But yeah, it making it equitable and commercial and profitable. Um, you know, I think that's the goal, right? To do this for a living. But right now, and I think what's happening with us is it's aligning to be where what we are creating and releasing, and that we like it, it's resonating with other people as well, and they like it, and um, that's harmonious and natural. So um, that's good. And I think it's hard to people get in the trap and they say, oh, well, I got to put something out that everybody's going to like, or it's got to be this or that. And then it's not genuine. It's not, it's people are very good at knowing what is real and what isn't. A lot of my writing lately and getting sober, it's just being vulnerable, and it's an exercise for me to do that. But it's genuine, it's true, it's healthy for me to do that. But it's also it resonates because it's real, and I'm not I'm sharing my vulnerability and hoping to inspire others, and it's healing for me to do that. Um, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to write something that I think that the audience is going to like, right? Like I like it first. If they happen to like it, great. But it's hard to get, it's dangerous to get into the uh, other way around where you're like, I might not like it, but I'm trying to make something that I think the audience will like, and God forbid, you have a hit song that you got to play the rest of your life that you despise.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah, yeah, Chumbawamba, no doubt. I'll be singing.
I don't know why I thought of that song.
Uh, it's funny.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I mean, there's got to be plenty out there, but yeah, they're commercially successful, but you probably cringe to play them.
Yeah. I guess you get a whiskey drink.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that was my problem for a long time.
So this new album, then, when it does get released, are we looking at probably 12 tracks like the first album, or what would be your
I don't
ideal?
know. I think it's too early to tell. Like I said, I'm working on stuff now. I've got 3, 4 ideas I'm working on now, and um, there's yeah. I mean, we might be coming up on soon here. 2 more albums in the can. It's there's a lot of content. What makes it what makes sense to be on the album together? I guess trying to still figure that out. But yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. Right now, we do have 2 singles in the can. We're going to be trying to release more consistent releases. Back in November, we're going to be recording another 3 or 4 songs in November, um, and see kind of how that stacks up, and if we want to release more singles, or hold and wait. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe 12. Who knows on the number, but. There's it's a good problem to have right now where we're at with the content, and being able to we're not struggling for what to record. It's just time and money to do it.
So we've got the gig December 5th at Elkton Music Hall. Any
Yeah,
other gigs that you can speak of that we have
we're
coming up?
working on trying to work on a show with Feathers and Flask. Working on a show hopefully with Uncle Kunkel, maybe 1 gram band. Um, So got some things in the works, some different shows as well. But yeah, just 12/5 right now. But yeah, keep an eye out for some upcoming shows here. Hopefully trying to get in another one here before the end of the year. But definitely could be hitting a pretty good year in 2025.
Yeah, I think you guys would be great candidates for South by Southwest. I don't know if you've thought of
Right
doing
on.
that. Um,
I think we considered it last year. I think it was a little early. But yeah, I think we might submit this year for sure. I think I was looking at deadlines
I think it's soon.
soon. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we go down every year. It's a blast. If you've never been to Austin, I
I
highly
haven't, but
recommend
yeah,
it.
it's on the list for sure. We've mulled it over for sure,
Yeah. I don't know if you're
and
a
I think we're pretty
barbecue
young.
guy.
Yeah. What's that?
I said, are you a barbecue guy or
Oh
which?
yeah, 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 for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah. Can't go
love
wrong with the barbecue down there, man.
awesome. Yeah, I love it. Like um, Andy Nelson's up here. I don't know if you've been to Andy's. That's near me, but
Okay.
he's from Alabama. And yeah, some of the better barbecue around. There's Jake's Barbecue around here and Andy Nelson's, but check that out if you're ever down my way.
Okay. All right, good stuff. So yeah, so I guess your fans are we're just expecting continued singles, hopefully from now until the spring, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
we'll
new music.
hope for a new album then down the road. And
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna kind of be compiling and recording and stacking them up. The Beatles are a good analogy. They had three albums, ready before they released one. So luckily, the materials there and always building and always growing. And so far lately, clarity of mind, I think all that it helps and got a good process and just a good space to be able to kind of and understand how to document things and how to come back to them and rank and order them to focus on things and yeah, it's a good place to be in, and it's just been constructive on creativity with writing and other art. I'm a potter as well, and I think that helps inform doing some things with the music as well as using my hands and creating pottery, and it helps feed as well. Keeps the brain spinning. But yeah, using the muscle and exercising the brain. But yes, building up and looking to release a bunch of singles and putting together an album here in 2025.
yeah, do you have an idea of what the album cover will look like?
I don't. It's a great question. I don't. Uh, we got a newer song. It's called "The Awakening." Um, I feel like that could be a good title maybe for an album. But I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Still too soon. And it's good. It's good. We're not like rushing it. The other thing too, we're not forcing anything. I don't feel like we're ahead or behind on, we're like I'm not we're not forcing, it's I think we're right where we need to be. I think we're um there's times where, you think you want to be playing more, doing more, whatever, but there's we're all where we're supposed to be. I truly believe that. And it'll come along when it does. We're not you only kind of get into this comparison game or head game about who's doing what and how you're doing it. We can only do what we're doing on our pace and our tempo and our timeline. So um, yeah, it's a comfortable spot right now, and just looking to record really. And I think the biggest thing we can be doing right now is recording and releasing. The shows will come, if you got the good content, you got the material. But worried less about booking and playing, I think, and more focused on um,
Content.
content. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go. It really is. So what studio do you typically then stick with the same studio then for?
Yeah, we've been at Stages Music Arts there in Cockeysville, Maryland,
Okay.
and we record with Evan Kornblum. He's a sound engineer and helps produce with us, and we all pitch in on producing, and we really let the song. We start the song. It's not about individuals or solos or whatever it is. It's kind of what fits best for the song and for each song. So we're very good at just coming in with obviously prepared on the arrangement and all that, but it always takes a turn somewhere, and we would say, hey, what about this or what about that, and adding um, whatever instrumentation or pulling back. A lot of what we do is um, uh, we kind of put all the creative ideas out there and then take the creative hat off and put on an editing hat and subtract, take things away to make sure everything makes sense. And uh, it's a good process. I think a lot of what we've developed quickly and naturally is, I've been writing a long time, so that's there. But the creative process together as a band is we've got, a nice process of how we go about things and how we practice and how we make new music. And then same thing carries over into the studio, and we've got a good working relationship and a good process with how we record. And um, initially that first album, it was new to process and things like that in the studio and terminology and um, new language, a bit of a language barrier. And at this point, we're all speaking the same language and we're all kind of anticipating certain things and we're all just kind of gelling well together. And it helps. It shows. You can hear it, you can feel it, you can see it. We're just comfortable in the space and we're comfortable in um, who's doing what and how we're doing it and how to walk through it to get to that end result.
So I guess one day when they have the behind the music for Whiskey Feathers, what do you think the story will be?
What's the story? We're all just a bunch of friends and kind of giggly and laughy in the basement most days. To a fault sometimes, we all just want to catch up. We really do love each other as friends and people. Um, and I think that's been the most beautiful thing about it is just community and friendship and family now. Um, and it really is a special thing. I can't describe that enough. Where, so I don't know how some bands they don't get along. I don't know how you do it, right? Like, but we do. We gel, we jive, and it's some of best friends and family. So um, that's what we do behind the scenes. Really, it's we all just want to catch up and um, see how we're doing and make sure we're there for each other. So that's been beautiful. The community's really been the story of all this and growing that community with fans and friends, everybody we meet and we're quick friends with. So I guess that's probably our story. It's just being there for each other. It's a community for sure.
Yeah. So what is there one maybe band or artist that you have a guilty pleasure for, an artist that maybe we might not think you would be a big fan of?
Hmm. Guilty pleasure artist. Huh.
Like you spending Take Tay, or you got a Sabrina
No, see, I've
Carpenter?
tried. This might not be popular, but really tried to take that because I'm like, it's just, and I respect it. It's just not for me, I suppose. Um, Guilty pleasure artist. I don't know. I like
What does your wife
Tiny
listen to?
Ribs came to mind, but that's not. I wouldn't even say that's guilty pleasure. Um,
Do you and your wife have similar music tastes or not really?
yeah, we do. I think. I listen to like some old, classics and things like that too, like crooner stuff. I don't know. I dig some older music. Um, Guilty pleasure. I don't know. I mean, people wouldn't think I like Primus, but I dig Primus. That might be one.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
one. Okay.
and again, that's kind of like just from going, seeing live shows, the experience of some music. I dig jam band. Like I like, a good jammy band. Go see Goose, things like that. Um, I don't know. Stuff like that. I suppose you wouldn't expect maybe, but and I do listen to like all sorts of stuff for sure. But no, I've tried Tay Tay and I respect the hell out of her, but I just can't. I don't. It doesn't hit me that everybody's got their cup of tea or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah, we were listening to one of her songs on the radio just the other day, and I was like, "This is terrible. Like, this is not good."
I mean,
You hate to say
she's
that
very
about a
successful.
song.
She does what she does.
She does. She
But
does.
I don't know. That's the beauty. I think that's the beauty of music, right? It's like it's apples and oranges, and I talk to some artists and they're like, well, so and so did this and so did. It's like you're not so and so, man. Like you're you, and they're putting out music at their own pace and their own schedule, and like it's a violent act against yourself to comparison. It's just you're never gonna be Beyonce. You're only gonna be you. Focus on that and embrace that, right? Like lean into what makes you unique and share that, and that's genuine and that's real and that's you, and nobody else can do that because nobody else is you. Um, so yeah, that's the beauty of it. And good art isn't supposed to be universally liked. It's just not. And that's what part of the pop culture we're in is like everybody's supposed to like it. Not everybody's supposed to like it. It's just you're not. Like if they are, then it seems kind of strange to me, like um it's everybody likes different things, and that's the beauty of it. And something that you really dig might not be my favorite thing, but that's art, that's it's the way it goes. So and if people don't clap, I don't take offense. If it's not your cup, it's not your cup. That's fine. Um, at the end of the day, I just have to like it. The band has to like it, and if other people dig it, that's great. But um, yeah, maybe it's a selfish. I don't even think it's selfish. It's our art. It's our music. If you like it, um, I think it's a disservice to not release it, to not share it. Um, it's the you got to be vulnerable, but it's a big part of the equation to release it, and um, that's the kind of final hurdle, um, and the final equation of it. But if you didn't release it and you just made it and you liked it, that's great and all and well and good. But I think especially with music, it's meant to be shared, and um, yeah, you got to share it. But yes, it's a beautiful thing that all this music is different, and it's beautiful. There's no way to compare it. You can't. You can say like, um, you hear, oh, it's ahead of its time, or there's a time and a place. And music is very much that, especially pop music. But um, there's all sorts of reasons and influences as to why certain things get ground into your head, and you go, oh, maybe I do like this. But um, that's what I like about it is that Tay Tay's out there and doing her thing, and if it doesn't resonate with me and something else does, then that's cool. So um, this comparison thing is a dangerous thing. I think it's you're never gonna win. You just can't.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that you are resonating with me and your fans with your
Thank
music.
you.
Yeah, best of luck. And yeah, like I think the serendipitous meeting of all of you, I think has, really bared some fruit already. And I'm really
Yes,
excited to.
and it carries through. It keeps carrying through. It's there's all like I said. There's all these little just glimmers, little hints of things that it's like, man, this is right, and there's this meant to be element of it for sure. And yeah, we should and shall continue. It's been a cool journey. I think we feel that kinetic potential, and I think a lot of bands are quick to want to just jump and kind of release that spring and get to the end or whatever. And we're really enjoying this. It's about the come up and the excitement of that kind of little steps and stepping up and going into the next level of things. And
Mm.
that's the exciting part, I think, is that living in that moment and living in the kind of gradual journey. So yeah, we're relishing in the here and the now. So that's I don't I'm afraid of the spring releasing and what that maybe where's the journey go from there. But yes, this kinetic potential is very exciting. We're excited to take it as it goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to see you on that December 12th Earth
Yes, come see
show.
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the music hall 12:05.
Yeah. And then yeah, hopefully 2025 is as good as 2024 was for you. So
Ever better. It seems to be the way lately is it just keeps getting better.
yeah. Good stuff. Well, Brittain, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you,
Um,
sir.
yeah, it was great. It was great meeting you in person last weekend. It was great seeing you, seeing the
As
bands.
well, Chad.
Yeah, man, definitely good stuff. So
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity for this. It's awesome to sit down and talk about it. So thank you. Thanks for doing what you do as well.
I appreciate that, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the band, like Whiskey Feathers. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dog. You've been great. This is the Music Lab podcast.